No, you are not having deja vu. There is yet another zero-day exploit discovered in Google Chrome and all other Chromium-based browsers less than a week after the last one. And I'm not late on this one. The patch was released for Google Chrome less than a day ago, and you can go to the dropdown, hit About Google Chrome, and that should automatically update it. And the new version you're looking for is 112.0.5615.137. As for Edge, Microsoft said they're aware of the bug, but it hasn't been patched quite yet, so they'll probably release an update, I assume within a day or so. Right now, the version of Edge is 112.0.1722.48, so what I would do is keep checking for updates and look for when the update version goes greater than this. Probably the last number will change, so anything higher than 48. And again, you want to update as soon as you can because this exploit has been spotted in the wild, so hackers have been using it. And actually, this update for Chrome at least contains 8 total security updates, so you want to get it. So that's all you have to do, but if you're curious, here's a little bit more about the exploit itself. So the identification number of the exploit is CVE 2023-2136. It's a high severity integer overflow vulnerability in what's called Skia, which is a 2D graphics library in Chromium. If you're not familiar, an integer overflow is basically when you have a variable that has a certain maximum number that it can hold. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it can only hold up to the number 16. But if it tries to go to 17, it would actually wrap back around to 0. So as an analogy, say you go to a grocery store that has really bad programming in their computer and you go to charge enough groceries, eventually it'll get so expensive that it actually loops back around to 0 and you get everything for free. Google has not shared the specifics on this exploit besides that it's an integer overflow. However, because Chromium is open source, you can actually look at the code, and I actually found the commit or the code update that patches this bug. And we can see here the description for it says, enforce program stack limits on function parameters. Previously, a function's parameter list did not count against its stack size limit. What does that mean in English? Well, in programming, you can have a function. So you input parameters, say A and B here, and they do something, and then the function returns the value when it's done. And a more complicated function may have checks in there that ensures that different values within the functions don't go above a certain amount of data or certain values. And apparently, in one of the functions in Chrome, it wasn't actually counting the input parameters towards the limit. So in this example, you could maybe put a huge number and then cause an overflow somewhere down the line within the function, so it would basically bypass the checks. Again, that's a really general example. I don't know the specifics of how this Chrome one works, but that just gives you an idea. I'm probably going to unlist the video I made a couple days ago about the previous patch just because it's going to be redundant, but I'll put the link in the description so you can still see the explanation I gave for how that one works if you're curious. So again, if you're using Chrome, make sure you go install that current update that is available. And if you're on Edge, make sure you keep checking within the next day or so until you see the new version come out. Hopefully I don't need to make another one of these anytime soon, but stay safe and I'll see you in the next one.